This is the Riverhawk SportsNest podcast, talking all things NSU athletics. I am Sean Solo.
And I'm Captain Morgan.
Brought to you by
NSU Athletics, Precision Consulting Group,
and DJ Sean Solo Entertainment. The Riverhawk SportsNest is a Rogue Radio Network production.
You can like, follow, share, and enjoy the show. You can listen to Riverhawk SportsNest on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music.
Let's go.
Hey, hey, hey. It is Wednesday night. It is time for the Riverhawks SportsNest podcast. I am Sean Solo.
And I'm Captain Morgan.
Hello, Captain.
Let's go.
This is episode 408 of the Riverhawks SportsNest podcast. We are live at Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah. We want to thank, of course, Emery's Grill for hosting our show every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. You can always come out, hang out, watch the show live, and even ask the players or coaches a question. We also like to mention our current sponsors, Precision Consulting Group and DJ Sean Solo Entertainment. The SportsNest is a Rogue Radio Network production. You can now watch the SportsNest episodes on the Rogue Radio Network on YouTube. So go to Instagram and Facebook for the link for all the platforms, and be sure to like and share.
And the SportsNest would not be possible if it wasn't for our current sponsors and our athletic director, Coach John Sizemore. The purpose of our podcast is to talk all things about NSU athletics. If you'd like to become a sponsor, we have several packages to choose from, with the percentage of the funds being directly contributed back to NSU athletics. Just DM us on Instagram or on Facebook. And then coming up in the next couple of shows, next week we've got Coach Chev and a couple of players coming. Their spring game is on April the 5th, so it'll be March 26th when we do the podcast, so on a Wednesday. So we'll release it. It'll be basically that week of that following Saturday. They'll be doing the spring game, which is also Crawfish Festival, which is huge. We all love that. So and Sean's very involved in that as well.
Very involved.
And on April 2nd, we got men's soccer with Coach Chase Wooten and a couple of players. And then on the 9th, we're probably going to have a couple of special guests, Director Sizemore, and maybe the president if his schedule works out right.
So we've got the big bosses coming up.
We're
gonna have to keep our show.
We got the guys coming on, so it's like
we'll have to be under control. I don't know if that's even possible.
On your best behavior.
On my best behavior. I'm on my William behavior always. So.
Not the captain. Well, let's introduce who we've got on the show. It feels like it's been forever since we've had you on, but we've got our men's baseball skipper, Coach Sonny G.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have a couple players with us. We have Colton Ayers and Austin Albright.
Yes.
Welcome, gentlemen. This is the first time you've been on my podcast.
Yes.
First time, huh?
Yep, first time.
All right. So let's start this off. I've been just kind of thinking of how we wanted to do the show tonight, and we've been doing the coaching show for Havens and Coach Ferg, and then of course Chev in the fall. But we really don't have a coaching show for baseball. And since I was at the game last night, calling it, and you guys had a hell of a weekend against Washburn, I thought, let's do this first part of the show as it was a coach's show. So if you're okay with that,
that's fine.
And kind of talk about, what's been happening. So, like I said, you had a series win versus Washburn last weekend. 41 runs scored.
Insane. That was insane.
It was like scores from Saturday on the gridiron. It's like touchdown after touchdown.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend, to say the least. If you told me that we were going to give up 36 runs in the first two games and that we'd be 1-1 in the series, there's no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But our offense came alive, and our guys did a good job of just grinding out runs on Friday, and we kind of patched that one together and found a way to win because we decided to kind of push back our starting and went with our 1 and 2 on Saturday and Sunday. We've done that before. We did that against Pittsburgh last year, trying to find an upset weekend. Washburn came in. They're a solid club. They were a win away from really advancing to the championship game in the MIAA last year. Had Central Missouri on the rope, and so they'd had a good chance if they could have knocked Central Missouri off of winning the MIAA tournament. But they just came off a Tuesday and Wednesday victory at home against Augusta. And, if you know Division II baseball, Augusta was ranked number 10 preseason and was currently at the time 16 in the nation. And so, they were kind of hard to read. What kind of club were we facing? We scouted them pretty hard. And when we found victory on Friday, really had a rough Saturday and came back and won on Sunday, we had to feel pretty good about that, winning that series.
And of course, we had the loss yesterday against UFAS, where we used five different pitchers were used. We had some fielding errors, and an offense that it was tough to get out into some kind of rhythm. My question with that, what's the idea, the philosophy that's from your standpoint with pitching? We've got 20 on the roster roughly, I think. And, we've had games where we've used multiple pitchers were used during a game. Is it for you to kind of see what the rotation's going to be or what's going to work, or kind of talk about that?
No, we go into every game with a game plan. And, of course, if your starter goes out there and he only gives you 2 innings, your playbook's pretty much, toast. I mean, it would be no different than Chev, I'm sure, has they have a game plan, offense, defense, and, they always talk about one complementing the other. And, the next thing you know, if you're down, 3 or 4 touchdowns, now you're having to throw the ball a lot more than you wanted to. Your game plan might have been to pound it on the ground, and that's kind of what happens. Our starting pitching has really put us in a pickle. Hey, we're not a throw the football kind of offense in baseball. We're a ground and pound. We're gonna bunt, steal, hit, and run. We're not. Our biggest inning, I think, this year has maybe been 4 or 5 runs. We're not an 8-run inning type club, and so that's what happened on Tuesday. Our starting pitching wasn't good, and it starts there, and then the second guy that comes in didn't do a good job, compounds it, and if I've got hitters going to the plate and they're trying to think, oh my gosh, we got to put up a 5 or a 6 to even get close again, it's really tough on our offense. So that pretty much sums what kind of ball club we are right now. We are not consistent. Some days we can look really, really good, and within one day we can look really bad. And I've been trying to put my thumb on it. We've moved some guys around. You can say we've had some injuries, but we have talent. Austin has played third base, who's with us today on the podcast. He's played third. He's played in the outfield here at NSU. He's played behind the plate, done a good job for us behind the plate in the absence of our starter, Gage Williams, who's an all-conference player. We've had him now working out at second base because we've lost another really good player, returning starter, in Corbin Ford. And then our top hitter in our lineup right now, Austin Reeves, gets hurt on Friday, so we haven't had him in the last 3.5 games. And, that's not that's not anything to feel sorry. That's next man up mentality, but it's hard for us to find some consistency. So my frustration with the club is we can look really good one day and really, really bad the next day. And I can't find the pulse with this club yet on what's going to be consistency, except pitching. Now, when our freshman Braxton Jones has been on the mound, who's 4-1, 5-1 right now on the season, he's been really good. He'll give you a good start. Our guys believe in him, and we're able to find victory. So I think it's the key for us is going to be our other starting pitchers. We've got to have a number 2, number 3, number 4 pitcher because we play midweek games that count, just like we had yesterday. Right. And we've got to have 3 other guys that can keep us stable at least through 5 innings, if not more.
Well, and that's kind of a follow-up when you talked about starting pitchers not getting off to a good start, and this is kind of like a post-game as well. Drake obviously had a rough start to the game, and you brought in Murphy Bostic, who's a senior from McKinney, who had been at Level Christian before, correct?
Correct.
And so he gave us, he gave up a single, got a ground out to end the top of the second. Then the top of the third, he had 2 strikeouts and then a pop out, which obviously ended the inning. Then the fourth, he had 2 quick outs and then had that little shaky towards the end. 3 more runs were scored. And I think we had this one where we had one of the defensive errors, I guess. So my question as a sports guy, fan, and from what you're seeing, Bostic was playing pretty well. He had some good stuff. Why would you pull him? Would you, with that pitcher that's got so much experience, have himself work out of that kind of the jam, if you will?
Right, and that's a good question. So what you just said is exactly what happened. He came in, he stabilized. We scored a couple of runs, 4-2. We're hanging in there pretty good. We feel like it's still a ball game, and it is. And in the inning you spoke of, he gets 2 quick outs,
Right.
ends up walking a guy, hitting a guy, walking another guy. He gets 2 quick strikes on the next hitter. And we throw a breaking ball away that's not even supposed to be fouled off. You know, it is a setup pitch for the next pitch. And he leaves that thing right over the middle of the plate. And a guy that struggled for them ends up just singling into center field, 2-run score.
Right.
And the wheels start to fall off. And that, you know, literally 3 runs are going to be scored there on 1 bad pitch. And that's how technical baseball is. And that's the beauty of the game, but it's also the difficulty of the game. It's why a lot of people get bored watching it. They don't understand 1 pitch was
Right.
the difference between this inning. And I'll give you an example. Let's go back to the Washburn game. You know, they threw a kid in the 8th inning against us. We have a 4-run cushion. We got to win that game. We're going to try to open it up. They've got a transfer from OU. He's throwing 92 to 94 miles an hour. Strikes out the first guy, strikes out the second guy, walks Tanner Allman. Tanner, we decide, what the heck, we still second. What the heck, we still third. Austin's at the plate. Austin ends up walking. Austin's still second. And then we decide to steal home. We steal home while Austin's still in second. And we had 5 stolen bases. After there were 2 outs, we did not put a ball in play. We scored 3 runs. Now, that's how technical baseball is. And if you scout Washburn, you'll see they're the worst in our conference at throwing out would-be base stealers. So the best way to attack an OU transfer, who's now playing Division II, who's pretty much throwing it by our guys, is to take off running. And after we did that, we stole 5 bases in that inning with 2 outs, okay? We stole 5 bases, we stole home. They made an error throwing it away, trying to get Albright going to third, scored again. Their pitcher's frustrated. What does he do? Leaves the ball right down the middle, and Sloan Smith hits it out for his first home run of his career. And we scored 3 runs. And so that's what I love about the game. It's very technical and how you go about approaching it, but it can be very difficult for the average person to watch the ball game. But that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here trying to teach these guys. We've got guys that have bought in. They understand. We've got to bunt, steal, hit, and run. You're not going to sit back and hit home runs all day. And I think that's kind of been the plan here at Northeastern State in the past, because our ballpark is really a porch. When you look at center field, it looks like 402 or whatever. It's deep, yeah, but the rest of it's not. It's short down the right field line and really short down the left field line. So it's a tough ballpark to pitch in. It's a home run.
A lot of wind.
Yeah, a lot of wind, and it's a home run park.
Right.
So guys have come here in the past and just tried to lift it in the air and hit it out. That's not going to win on the road. It's not going to win championships in tournament play. It's not how you want to build teams.
All right, Coach, I'm going to move on over here to the players here. Austin, tell me a little bit about your trip here to Tahlequah. Exactly, tell me what you got going on right now, and tell me a little bit, just how you got here pretty much, your recruitment and
Okay,
stuff.
so I'm from Cherry, Oklahoma, and went 2 years at Eastern Oklahoma State College. Went to Oklahoma Baptist from there, and fractured my hamate bone and tore my labrum in my left arm. So I was taking my medical red shirt, and I had played for G in high school when he had his travel ball organization, and I was kind of just wanting to change the scenery and stuff, and that's when he was still at ECU. So I was kind of said that's where I wanted to go. I just want to play for him, and so I get in the transfer portal. I do everything I need to do there, and then he takes a job here. So then I kind of drop everything and enroll up here. And last year was my first year, and the rest is history.
Yeah. How about you, Colton?
Yeah, so I played junior college baseball in Kansas for 2 years. After my sophomore year, I had a spot that I was going. It kind of fell through in late May. Ended up going to play in the Prospect League in Pennsylvania. And about midway through, I was hitting BP one day and went and checked my phone because my girlfriend was actually coming back from Mexico. Just want to make sure they got back or whatever. And I had a missed call and a text message from him. Called him back. He gave me the opportunity to come home and play baseball and play for him. And that's all I needed to hear. Now I'm here.
And one of the things I might add on to that, this is actually from Coach G. It's his first full recruiting season. I mean, this is your second season here, Coach.
Right,
but the first year you didn't come in, you didn't get a full recruiting season in. So
So you've got basically more of your guys that you've recruited.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the lineup, and you go to Sunday's lineup, and there wasn't really one guy, except for Austin that returned from last year, and he wasn't catching last year. He was, playing in the outfield.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt. He was playing really well last year as an outfielder starting for us. He got hurt, kind of got him off track, never really got back on track. And so we've asked him to be really sacrificial in being a backup catcher behind a really good one that we have. And I'm glad we made that move because we would really be in a pickle because he's done a really good job and thrust into it with Gage Williams, our outstanding MIAA catcher, down right now. So, but when you look out there, I mean, new shortstop, new second base, new first baseman, new third baseman, new left center, right fielder, new DH. I mean, nobody is returning from last year. We wanted to flip our lineup. We're changing our culture. We're changing our philosophy 100%. And, speaking more to culture, it's what we're driving home. We drove it home again today after practice, and it's about character. It's about not pointing the finger. It's look at the thumb. It's about you being responsible, about caring and loving your teammate. And that's what we've got to be better at. And, we've still got some holdovers that still want to blame other people for things, and we're not going to have it. We're going to be responsible. And I think if we do that, we continue to move in the right direction. I see really, really good days ahead. Not in the future years, but even this year for this group of young men.
Yeah, because right now you guys are just 2 games under 500 right now.
Yeah. And,
so it's still first half of the season. You still got a lot more baseball to play.
Yeah, we're not even at the halfway point as far as total games, but, we look at conference and, like, when we play in OBU, yeah, we want to beat OBU, but they're not in our conference. So it's no different than when I was in the Big 12 or the SEC. Those are the games that matter, and those are games you got to emphasize. And, it goes back to your question about, okay, well, when you have Murph in there, and then all of a sudden he makes a bad pitch and it cost him. And we didn't want Murph's pitch count to get up because he's a starter for us. We thrust him into that position because that was a conference game. But he's a weekend starter for us, so he wasn't going to go too long. But, again, we've got to emphasize that when you look at it, this is what's crazy about last night. We played the last place team in our conference. If we win that game, Sean, we are in sole possession of 4th place. If we win that game, and we would be ahead of Rogers State, which is the only series we've lost so far this year. And so that's how fickle this MIAA is. It's a really tough league. Everybody's going to beat up everybody. And, we're going to get them 2 more times. We just can't stumble. That's 1 game in a 3-game series. We haven't given ourselves any margin for error against them. So when we go to their place, we're going to have to find victory. And when they come back, we're going to have to find victory. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's one of the things as far as, winning at home is one of the things that attracts the crowd and gets people coming to the games and gets people excited to check online, be checking on the live stats to see what's going on. And that's one thing that we're trying to work, we're working to do. So that last weekend, getting the series from Washburn was good. And I think that was going into that weekend. I mean, that was a tall order right there. I mean, I think everybody knew that going in there. So that was good going in there. But how do you, when you handle, like, when you handle you got the home games, but I'm going to ask this to the players. When you go to the on the road games, what is different? Because I know there's got to be something different as far as playing at home as to playing on the road. So, like, what do you, like, tell me some of the things that y'all deal with, Austin. Go ahead, Austin.
Like me personally or just as a team?
Yeah, well, you personally, and then what you think the team kind of goes through, being home and being away.
For me personally on the road, it's never really affected me. I mean, I try to kind of stay in my same routine, whether that be, like when we play at home, I have more time to kind of stretch and do things. But when you're on the road, you kind of got to be a self-starter and you got to be able to get your motor running because as soon as you get there, you're taking BP, and then as soon as BP's over, it's in and out, and then you're right into gameplay. So you can't just kind of be lackadaisical. I mean, that'd probably be the biggest thing. And going back to, I think it was Rogers. I think one of the games that we dropped there, we were really slow at the gate, and that was something that as a team we had to kind of like. We got to be vocal. We got to, as soon as we step off the bus, we got to go. It's game time, and just be ready from the jump.
Yeah, that makes sense.
On the road, for me personally, I mean, the only thing different I think would be the scenery. It's still the game. They pitch, we hit. We pitch, they hit. the energy shifts are still there. Their crowd can get into it, but none of that stuff I think should really affect how we go about our business. So home and away, just play the game.
Colton's business. What's between the lines? I got it right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit how you picked up Colton, then, Coach.
Well, I heard about Colton and how well he was playing. If you look at his numbers in junior college, they're okay. And, I didn't call him when he was at junior college, but through the grapevine, I heard that, here's the guy that's up there, and he was going somewhere. Now he's not, and he's really swinging it well. And so when I looked at his numbers in the summertime, I watched him for another week, and I saw his numbers were staying true to what I was being told. And so I gave him a call, and, I didn't realize till just now he was really wanting it to be his girlfriend, but instead it was Coach G. But anyway, we talked, and he was open to it.
I mean, you're a handsome man.
Well,
but
thank you very much. But he was open to it. He wanted to take a visit, and that's what you got to understand is, look, we flipped our roster. I brought in 27 guys. So for every guy, just like Colton, the time I spent with him on the phone, talking to him, call him again, make sure he's still interested. Comes and visits us with his parents. We do a great tour. We sit down, we talk about it. He goes back, he thinks about it. There's guys like Braxton Jones, our best pitcher right now. I get in the car, and we got to drive and watch him pitch at Enid. Stay on him for 2 weeks to try to take a visit. Finally comes and takes a visit, comes with his dad. His dad's a huge OSU fan, so definitely not a Coach G fan coming from OU. Have to overcome that. Go down to, oh my goodness, where was I? I was in Waco, Texas, to see Mason Ruiz, our first baseman, and watch him, bear down on him. And my gosh, he made us wait a long time, at least 5-6 weeks before he committed. And you got to stay with them. You're calling every week. People don't realize how much time you invest in just one player. And then when you multiply that times 27 players, it's not easy. It's not easy, especially when you're recruiting on zero budget. And so it's a daunting task, but if you have contacts and you stay after it, you have passion, you can find them, and you get the right guys. And that's what we've done. We've got the right guys. I mean, we've got guys that, you would want your daughter to meet, you would want your daughter to marry. We have high character guys, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to build on that character. We're going to try to make these guys understand, hey, what kind of dad are you going to be? What kind of husband are you going to be? What kind of pillar in your community are you going to be? And, the kind of guy that points fingers or has, blame for everything or excuses, those aren't the people that we want to surround ourselves with as grown men. And so they're learning that. So the other thing, I know you asked them the question about on the road, and so I'm just going to elaborate a little bit because I think that maybe Captain Morgan also was kind of elaborating on this. But when we travel, these guys understand that we get on the bus and it's on time. The bus takes us where we're supposed to go. We stop. Then when we get there, there's a place where we're eating, and they know we're coming. The meal's prepared. When we get to the hotel, these guys have not spent more than, I bet, 7 minutes in the lobby before they're handed their hotel key and given their instruction. And that'd be stretching it. Sometimes it's 5 minutes because it's all taken care of ahead of time. Their itinerary is sent to their phone. They're treated like men. They're told when their curfew are. They're not checked up on after that. They know it's a business trip. And that's thanks to our, director of baseball operations, Miss Bethany. And these guys will tell you that. Now, they're a little remiss at not bringing that up, but I think they were talking about their personal routines more. But, we're really blessed that Bethany Seifert takes care of our baseball operations. She makes my job a lot easier as far as making sure everybody is where they're supposed to be, sending out the itinerary. She's calling me, when do you need meals if we get doubled up? We've been doubled up twice because of rain, right? So the Friday game gets canceled. We're playing 2 Saturday. That turns into a nightmare. We got to have food delivered between the games, and it's just a rush in between games. And we've won all 4 of those games. So our guys have been really mentally tough to do that, and I'm proud of them. But it comes again at a great expense, not financially, but work behind the scene to make the machine run smooth. And those that have been here before and carry over, and there's one out in the crowd right now, Sloan Smith. He's been here for 3 years. He could be the first one to tell you, hey, 3 years ago, this is how it was, and this is how it is now. And those are the things we want to improve on. We want to treat these guys like they would be at an OU or an OSU or anywhere like that.
For those watching, will be watching or listening, Bethany is in the room, so that's why.
We'll give her a hand.
Coach G was giving her all kinds of love, so she's getting all getting all giddy over there.
She helped facilitate this as well, so thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, we have to reach out to her. She tells us who's going to be on. But, fellas, so he talks about the culture, and now that you guys have been into the season and into the program, from your standpoint, and pretend he's not there, well, how do you see it? How do you see it happening, or how do you see it's changed over the off season and now into the season?
I can't speak on last year, but I just we got a real tight group. Like, you know, everybody's friends, everybody's, you know, we do everything together. We spend 95% of our time together. There's no real, like, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like,
There's not any.
there's not a whole lot of clashing heads. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know, but
If you're in
but
baseball, you
definitely,
gotta be really tight.
yeah, I guess.
Cohesive. It sounds like you're very cohesive, yeah.
Definitely one of the most fun teams I've been on in my lifetime, and I've been on a lot of teams, and I've really enjoyed it. So
Okay, hey, wait a minute. Let me jump in. We're not sitting around singing Kumbaya. He's talking about we're not clashing heads. The team's got a good chemistry, but this guy right here singles today against his teammate. The next thing I know, he's walking to the mound. The guy on the mound's walking to him, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
There we go.
So let's not sit there and think
Okay,
we're singing
okay.
Kumbaya, because we're not.
yes, things get chippy sometimes. Some things are said.
Gotta have the trash.
Hey,
well-
we're competing, okay?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
Not,
It's
Chinese
competitive.
checkers.
It's a competitive game.
It is. So I'll just cross-reference this. I mean, a couple weeks ago we're at the football scrimmage, and third play of the game, one guy is swinging it and he's hitting him in the helmet. And I'm like, why you hitting him in the helmet? He's got a helmet on. Hit him in the neck at least,
Like,
you
you
know.
don't wanna break
But I mean,
your
they
neck.
were throwing down third play of the game, so
I mean-
we understand how it goes
Yeah, you get
in-house.
in the heat of it,
Yeah, and you can
sometimes
share that
things
now. I
happen,
mean, you
yeah.
can share that. That's part of it. It's
not
like
walking
that's
by-
how we get better. Really, it is
Right.
because like people tell
Rats.
me, people before have told me, they're like, you are so confrontational. It's like, I'm not confrontational. It's like, I want to get to the end.
It
And
means something.
you know,
It
we can
means
have a
something.
conversation and we can get to the end of it, but we got to have that conversation. And sometimes it's pretty heated, but
Right.
that's how it goes. But you grow from that as well, right?
Yeah, some of my best teams have had in inter squads. We've had some bench clearing. Now, people might take that the wrong. No, when it means something and you care, you put everything you got into it. That's a good sign. And you know what happens when those things happen as a coach? I don't budge. I just start laughing and watch it. 'Cause
Watch it
You know
unfold.
what? And I look at some guys down the bench. I said, they'll be kissing tonight. Don't worry.
Got to get through that to get to that. That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right, Austin, you were here last year and then this year.
So, as G said, I was here last year and this year as well. And, I mean, ultimately, I would say the guys and how close. I mean, I would say last year we were close as well. But I felt like last year there's a lot of outside things that kind of distracted us and maybe kind of pulled us apart. And this year, I mean, yeah, we've done some stupid stuff and had to have punishment for it, but it hasn't pulled us apart. If anything, I think it's pulled us together because, like what they were talking about with Colton and one of our guys kind of getting in a little argument today, it was kind of iron sharpening iron in a sense of.
Well said.
I mean, I think it was something that sometimes it needs to happen, you know, because I mean it was like first or second inning of this inter squad, and so it kind of set the tone for us today. And I mean, me as a upperclassman, I liked it, you know. So I mean, kind of like going off of that, Mason when he got ejected earlier this season, I mean, he was standing up for one of our dudes, and there was, I mean, yeah, he had to have his suspension, but I mean, what he did needed to be done, you know. But
Were those are the unwritten rules of baseball that you have to.
Exactly.
The bench has got to clear. You got to go stand up for your dude.
yeah,
But I think we got to start going to practice. I just can't imagine Colton. He's always so
Yeah.
cool, calm, collective.
Yeah.
To see him get all chippy and
I'm gonna throw down. I'm gonna throw down. What you got?
strutting right by or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's get more on a personal level now. So, when did you guys start playing baseball? When did you guys fall in love with the game? When did that happen?
I've been playing this game as long as I can remember. I mean, I guess ever since I was conscious enough of like my own life, I've been playing baseball. So forever for me.
What about you?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same for me. I mean, I can still have like memories of like T-ball and where we still play, or when where my league did take place, and then as I got older, they ended up destroying the field. But I can still remember where it was, and it's been my entire life.
Okay. Who are your favorite baseball heroes that you guys look up to, or maybe pattern your game after?
Growing up, growing up, I caught all growing up, and then as I got to high school, I started playing more middle infield, and then in college, like G said, played outfield. But all growing up, I was a big Jorge Posada guy. I loved Jorge, and he was just kind of like a dirtbag and stood up for, I mean, I'd probably say Jorge.
Okay,
was my
all
dude.
right.
When I was younger, like young, it was Caleb Bushyhead, which Coach G actually coached at Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then as I was like 9 or 10 years old when I really became invested in like the MLB. Starlin Castro was the shortstop for the Cubs.
Okay.
And he's always been my favorite player.
All right.
Coach, who's your favorite player? What you got?
Who's my favorite player ever? My son, Colton Golloway. I mean, who else am I going to say? Of course it is.
Non-family,
Non-family.
Yeah.
Who's my favorite?
Yeah. Who'd you enjoy watching at least?
Who did I enjoy
Maybe
watching?
maybe growing
you
up.
didn't
or-
coach. Yeah, you didn't coach. Not family.
Gonna have to be Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith.
it.
I mean, the way he played shortstop and the way he redirected the ball. You know, Ozzie Smith said once. I didn't get to talk to him in person. I met a lot of people in my lifetime, but I heard Ozzie speak to a small group, and I was in the group. I was fortunate enough. He talked about being a shortstop and saying, "Hey, you know how you grow up playing pinball, and you got the bumpers, and they're electric bumpers. When the ball hits it, it goes poing." He goes, "I'm just a bumper on a pinball machine. The ball comes to me, and I make it bounce off of me and go to first base or second base." And that made so much sense. He's just redirecting the ball. And, I always tell these guys, don't field it and pat it and carry it and get rid of it. Field it and get rid of it. And so Ozzie did that. I mean, come on. The guy would do backflips, standing backflips, heck of an athlete.
He was,
So,
that was
I
awesome.
remember watching him.
yeah, he was a good one. And then, or Bob Gibson, who, the big train, again, a Cardinal could flat get after it. And I got to meet him, so that was my most in awe. I've met a lot of people, trust me, Bo Jackson, and on the sidelines at Auburn. And I mean, the list goes on and on, Roger Clemens, the list goes on and on. But when I met Bob Gibson, I was pretty in awe of meeting him. So very fortunate to have met him because he is getting up there in age and everything. But I don't know about Colton, but I will tell you there was a time when I knew Austin a long time ago. He's a heck of a football player. He's an all-state football player and baseball player, which is, hard to be an all-state in one sport. He was in two sports. I went to the all-state football game and watched him play. And I would have said that day watching in Shawnee at OBU's field that he was probably destined to go play football. And I really pushed him because I thought, if he turned all of his talents into just one sport, he could be really, really special at it. So it's been great to watch his progress and watch him move on. And I'm sure Colton was a multi-sport guy, and that's what we've got. We want to recruit great athletes. And if you get good athletes, you're able to do what we're able to do, and that's move guys around and fill holes and have some depth, and that's important, especially at the Division II level.
Sure.
Well, that's something we're looking forward to, this year and leading into the next year as well. I don't want to dismiss this year at all, but I want to kind of move into next year with you, Coach. So going into there, we've got you'll be in your second full year of recruiting, pretty much, and you've got we're working on retention and recruiting all the way through, kind of get everything together. And it's not only I'm not going to say rebuilding. You've been building since you've been here, with what we have. And then we need some depth in some areas.
Right.
So tell me how that kind of works. Like, just as you as a coach, like I know I've got if I got a good pitching staff, but then I might be a little weak in infield or outfield or something. So tell me about how that works for you.
Well, first thing is, you identify what you have, and then you bring them in, just like we've brought this new group of guys in. And hey, spring, everybody's good, because we're inter-squad.
Yeah.
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
And then, in the fall, everybody's good. And then you get to the spring, and some guys aren't playing every day, and what kind of teammates did they become? And, I remember earlier in the year, Colton came to me, and he left-handed hitter, and he's like, Coach, I can hit left-handed pitching. And I said, you know what, if you can, I'm going to figure it out. And that was the end of the conversation. He'll tell you that. But we figured it out. He can hit left-handed pitching. Not all left-handed hitters can hit left-handed pitching. He's one that can. So we've moved him to the leadoff spot because of his on-base percentage, and he's done a remarkable job. The pieces start falling together, and then after you identify that, it's a good leadoff hitter, Colton Ayers, junior. Does he like it here? Is he going to come back? Is he the kind of player that we would want to come back? When all those things are verified, okay, we're good in that position. That's an outfield leadoff position. Let's go look at the next one. And so that's the thing you do. You identify these things as you go through it. Of course, Diego Morello at shortstop's nothing short of terrific. And, we're worried a little bit about some nagging injuries he has, but he's a heck of a ball player. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get better offensively. Retention there. Braxton Jones, our number one pitcher, who's just a freshman. Retention there. You got to retain. It's no different than what Chev's going through or Havens with basketball or any of our coaches. So when I identify that, then we'll go out and we'll look. We're not looking hard right now because I'll be honest with you. At this time last year, Colton Ayers is playing junior college baseball. He's looking to get hot, and he's looking to sign Division I. And if he's not, I'm not interested in him. I'll be honest with you. If he's a guy that says, I'm just looking, to go, nothing against D2, but that's your goal, he's probably a Division III guy, maybe an NAIA guy. That's the truth. And so we're not looking, just like Braxton, probably could have signed with OU, OSU, any junior college, and then taken the one-year leap. We were patient, we waited. Mason Ruiz, we were patient, we waited. Diego Morello, our shortstop, we were patient, we waited. He's the Southern California guy who was out playing up, I don't even know, somewhere in Pennsylvania, up in that league too. And so he had to go all the way back to California, and we finally got him in here late. And so that's what we've got to do, is we've got to identify the good players, we've got to identify our retention, we've got to identify our deficiencies and where we need more depth, and then got to hit the road hard again recruiting. And that's okay. I love the recruiting part. Call me crazy, but when I go in somewhere and there's 5 other coaches, I'm not playing one other team. I'm playing 5 teams that day, and I'm going to win. And so I don't care what it takes. I'm going to find a way to win. I identify that that's Grandma over there, and so I get over there and I make sure Grandma knows who I am. And that she likes me more than she likes the other 4 coaches, So we're going to do what it takes to win. We're going to go find those guys, and that's part of it that I've done my whole life. I've enjoyed the recruiting part of it and trying to get recruited, ranked recruiting classes, and I think we were close this year of having a ranked recruiting class based on numbers and quality. And I believe next year we'll be a top 25 ranked recruiting class because we were knocking on the door, and you have to understand, when those people that rank that have really never heard of ranked recruiting classes here. And we've had great individual players come, but I'm talking about a bulk of guys. Mm-hmm. Then they start putting you on the radar. And it's no different than being ranked in the top 25 regular season. We haven't got top 25 votes in a long time here. But Washburn was getting ranked top 25 votes 2 weeks ago. Sure. And we just beat them 2 out of 3. But they're still not going to look at us because we got a lot more work to do.
Well, and you talk about the retention. So once you get these players in, you get these positions filled, what's built into the program itself from your standpoint as far as the development of these players, or these young players, or the JUCO transfers? Because it is a step up from what you're playing JUCO to Division II and obviously Division I. So there's got to be some development there. So how does that work into the whole scheme of things?
Well, again, same thing. You identify. So we've got a guy, Mason Ruiz, at first base. And I told Austin, I said, we're bringing in a first baseman. And I remember sitting there, and there was 3 other coaches watching him, and they're like, he's not very tall. And I just remember thinking, are you kidding me? I'm not teaching my infielders to airmail it at first base. We teach our guys to skip it off the carpet or hit him in the chest, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want a tall guy. I want a guy that's going to handle the low thing. And this guy can pick it like nobody. He is arguably one of Kevin Seitzer's son, Cam Seitzer, is one of the best first basemen I've had. Kevin, of course, played 16 years in the big leagues, and the notorious story about Bo Jackson choking him out in the batting cage. If you haven't seen it, look it up. But it was his son that I had at OU, and then Mason would be right there with him as the best defensive guy. So I told these guys, this guy's going to save runs. Doesn't matter if he hits a lick, because I didn't see a swing that I really liked, but I saw a swing we could develop. If you ask either one of these guys, the beginning of the year, right now, night and day different. beginning first week of the season, him swinging it, and what he did with the ball today. I mean, he hit a ball over the trees today that everybody was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's done that quite a bit. You know, he had 2 home runs in the first game against Washburn, and he's coming. Well, we had to tweak it. We had to change some things. We had to work with it. So we're going to be about development, but we got to recruit great talent. But at the end of the day, what I want, Sean, is I want people to say, hey, they do the best job of developing talent as anybody in the state. I mean, bar none. OU, OSU, Oral Roberts, Connors Junior College, Seminole Junior College, they do the best job of developing talent. And if we can do that, the players are going to be knocking our door down. I mean, honestly, it's going to be like, I won't say it, I'm not political, but maybe, you know, the border problems we've had in the past. So anyway, let's move on.
All right, there's a good segue. So shall we get to our fun segments,
Yeah.
Captain?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this is for the players. Let me make sure I've got everything squared away here. We have the Sean Solo Trilogy. 3 questions for the players to get to know you better. Okay? They're not Star Wars related. So, here we go. Question number 1. Favorite baseball movie?
Sandlot.
Sandlot?
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the Year. Okay.
I almost said Bull Durham. That was close.
I think that's one of my all-time favorites. I can watch that one.
Lollygaggers.
Probably the most quoted baseball line of all time is that whole speech in the shower with that.
I don't know. Maybe Major League's got one just to put out try.
Oh, yeah, that's
tried to quote
Captain
it.
Morgan. Oh, speaking of Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get back to after the trilogy.
Yeah.
We got a little story on this one for him. All right, so question 2. Who is the jokester or prankster on the team?
Colton first.
Austin
there's
Reese.
That's a good choice. Yeah, I'd probably say Austin Reese too.
Okay. All right. Now, question 3. Now, when I was in the booth yesterday doing the PA, I didn't hear any walkout music. So I'm kind of stumped. So what is your walkout song and what's your hype music that you listen to on game day?
My walkout song, well, I don't have one now, but it was
Okay.
Phone Numbers by Dominic Fike. My hype music is Drake, anything Drake.
Okay.
Shuffle.
Drake playlist, all right.
Yeah.
My walkout, when we did have them, I'd never actually picked one. I listened to so much music, I couldn't decide. So I just let the guys like, hey, you just pick it for me, and I'll just rock out with whatever you got. But I would say probably my overall music would be country, like Red Dirt and stuff. But I'd bounce around a lot.
Okay. Got a wide variety of stuff you listen to. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. You see, that wasn't so bad, right?
No.
So it's a Sean Solo Trilogy. We now have...
We're gonna do walk the plank with Captain Morgan.
Okay.
All right. So if I'm gonna ask you, I'm only gonna ask you one question, and it is right or wrong. And if you get it right, you get to stay on board and with the captain. We'll pop a cork or something, see what happens. And if you get it wrong, you're gonna have to go ahead and walk the plank.
Swimming with the fishes.
All right.
Hope you can swim. We'll go from there.
Hey, you can glasses.
I'm gonna go back to this past weekend against Washburn, like Coach had mentioned there. So y'all stole 13 bases on Sunday against Washburn. Okay, that was the most for a team in an MIAA baseball game this season, the most in one game. So how many different Riverhawks stole a base during the game? You had 13 bases stolen on Sunday. How many different Riverhawks stole a base during the game? And I'm gonna give you here. It's a multiple choice. 6, 7, 5, or 9.
6, 7, 5, 9. 13 bases.
That was a lot of running. Yeah, that's a lot.
Y'all were running.
That was a
fools
lot of
on that
running.
game.
That's a lot of running,
Are we
Coach.
each on our own plank, or is it like together?
I think it's 5.
No shot.
It's 5 or 6.
I was thinking
Wait,
9.
13 on Sunday?
You could do either or. It's all up to you.
You
Running
can, you
counts?
don't have to.
So A is 6, B is 7, C is 5, and D is 9.
I mean, you can take your own.
Yeah, you can.
I'm going B.
You're going 7.
Yeah.
What you got?
I like 5.
You like C 5? Well, we got a double. Okay, so 7 is right on. Stay aboard.
Austin.
Austin's in the house. Colton, sorry. Can you swim?
Yeah, them swimming
Oh,
glasses.
yeah.
There you
I've been
go.
swimming every week. I've been swimming every
It's going to
week.
be cold right now. But
There
yeah.
you go. Oh, yeah. Very good. Good stuff right there. I like that. That was a, yeah. I've not missed many home games this year, but I had to miss Saturday and Sunday, so sad I missed that, but it was quite an exciting game.
Sunday was fun.
So
awesome.
much fun.
Yeah.
So I have a Captain Morgan story that we have to get this documented on air. So yesterday, obviously, I was in the booth doing the PA. Captain Morgan was, of course, doing the softball ladies. So before I came over to talk to him at the beginning of the game, we're all chit-chatting. He was obviously probably distracted. Madison Mad Dog, who's working here tonight, she was pitching.
Why you got to call me out?
Because it was hilarious.
Why you got to call me out?
It was hilarious. And Arkansas Tech leads off and hits a home run. He's on the mic going, "That's a Riverhawks home run!" And we're going, no. And Devin, I told Devin about it. He goes, "Yeah, I heard that was a fast first inning."
He was like, they just played the national anthem and then they hit a home run?
It was hilarious.
In my defense, we've always worn, the games that I've called, the ladies have worn white tops and green bottoms. And yesterday they were wearing black tops, green bottoms. The other team was wearing white tops and dark green bottoms. So I just looked down and saw it, off reaction. But, I talk, and I get stuff wrong at y'all's games too, all the time. And it's just, it's like, okay, there's a lot going on up there.
Well,
if I could just sit in the stands and not deal with anybody else and just, watch the game and talk, that would be great. But in that press box, there's other stuff going on. There's clocks going on. There's MIAA radio in it. There's, SIDs in there. It's like there's so many conversations at times. And it's like,
So was that your first game yesterday? Baseball?
Yeah.
I was a little worried for you. I saw right before you announced the lineups, a bunch of papers go flying out
Oh
the
my
window.
gosh.
I didn't know if you were going to be able to do the lineups or not.
I was literally, I had the mic in my hand. I had my paper because I was wanting to stand up to do it, and that wind came through, and I literally, because that was my paper that was going out, and I'm grabbing it, hitting the mic, and going, okay, and a couple of the papers went out, and he had to go get it, and it was nuts. I thought, okay, if that's one thing that happens, then we're good.
yeah, I did the mishap on my first inning, and then he's got papers blowing
Yeah,
out in
flying
before
out.
the even game starts. So, I'm out there chasing them down. I'm like, hey, give me some of those papers, and getting them up.
So yeah, but other than
It was
that,
fun.
I settled in. I felt like I was telling y'all earlier, it's like I wish I had practiced more with your name so I could have been a little bit more obnoxious on the PA, but I'll save that for next time.
It takes time. It does. It's my second year doing it, and I still trying to figure everything out. So,
I had my shameless plugs too with the sponsors. So
yes.
since it was a volunteer, I'm going, okay.
So do you have nicknames? Because whenever Madison Mad Dog Heinley goes out on softball, that's what I say. So if you have nicknames, I will gladly throw those in there if that's okay with you, Coach.
I don't have a nickname.
Yeah, well, for me, so my last name's Albright. At Eastern, I was Albert. I was Bert. And then at OBU, I was Al for the most part. And then here, I'm Albie. So it's every year it's been
Something
Okay.
different.
a different deals. But anytime anyone ever, besides my mom, says Austin, I look around like, who are they talking to?
Yeah.
I'm just used to my last name
Okay.
being referred to. So
All right. Gotcha.
So what's your favorite of those that you've been called?
I don't know. I mean, I've really just I've enjoyed all of them. I mean, the one what started it, the Albert, was the coach was making a inter squad lineup and put Albright down, and it auto-corrected to Albert, and he didn't change it, and we ended up having a bad inter squad, but actually had a good day, and the coach was like, I mean, heck, Albert.
Who's Albert?
He's like, Albert had a good day. And then as soon as my head coach called me Albert, it stuck. And then from then on, so.
That's fine. That's good.
But yeah, no, any of it's really fine with me.
It's good.
Well, there you go. Make a note of it, Captain.
Yep, make a note of it. I think I think Sean does a great job. And
Well,
I didn't get to hear him yesterday a whole lot. I came over between games from the softball, but like I just think he probably adds a lot to it. You know,
was fun.
so yeah.
They were already asking if I was going to play music in between. I'm like, listen, I've got to concentrate on this first. Before I do that. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Yeah.
It's very nice having you. Coach G, it was nice having you back.
Thank you for what you guys do, too.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it. We love you
Appreciate
guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, and we're on video, so if you got something you want to say to anybody,
Yeah, give a shout out to your
give a
family
shout
and
out to
whatnot.
whoever.
Come on, you better do it.
Shout out to Bunny.
Bunny or
No
Bunny
shout out
Bunny?
on you. Come
Shout
on.
out mom, dad,
There you go.
grandma,
There you
grandpa.
Yeah.
Love you.
There you go.
Well, Coach G, thank you, sir. And Captain?
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you
y'all very
guys.
Yeah,
much.
thank
It's been
you.
great. Thanks for being
I
here.
guess Bethany took off.
Thanks.
But anyway, y'all have a good one. I'm Sean Solo.
And I'm Captain Morgan.
We are out. Bye-bye.